In this third and last part of our basic vMix setup series, we will complete our setup. And I will show you how to work with titles and overlays, how to configure vMix with WebinarGeek, and a final conclusion. So, one more time, back to the demo. And the final big part of vMix I would like to show you today are the titles and the overlays. Overlays are great to create a picture-in-picture if you work with videos or with titles, but first we need to create a title. So once again, click on Add Input. I said that was the last input, I'm sorry. Click on Add Input and search for title. You can import your own titles, of course, but for this easy setup, I will just use a preset, and I like title 7, which is horizontal blue. Double click it and immediately vMix opens its own title editor. As you can see, I have a headline and I have a description text. For my headline text, I will just use my name. My name is Walter. Hi all, nice to meet you. And as a description, I just going to fill in WebinarGeek. And at the top, you can also change the font and even the font weight or size. You can select one of the presets and just click on OK or apply if you actually applied one of the effects. Here you see a min and a plus. Those are for the font size increase or decrease as well. And you can set your own color. And as you can see, you can set your color very specifically for your own branding or company color. If you change it, click apply, but for now I will just press OK because I will just leave this as is. Then slightly at the bottom of this title editor, you see a plus and a min icon, and these are for the presets. Let's say I have multiple presenters in one webinar and I want to use this exact title because I've just set everything, the font size and the weight and the color and everything is great. I can just set my name as a preset by clicking on the plus icon, and then we need to click the plus icon once again. And I will change the second one because let's say my brother is in this webinar as well. And I will change the name to Robert. And now you can see Walter and Robert are in the same title as a preset. So once you changed everything you want to change, just click on the cross icon to close the title editor. Right now it's set to Robert. I will set it in the preview, but if you want to change the name, just click right, and then right at the bottom here you can select the other name. My name is Walter, so I will set this to Walter. Now the title is ready, so it's time to create our first overlay. To create an overlay, go to the bottom of your audio mixer menu, and there you will find the button that says overlay. Press it and immediately we have another menu that looks very difficult, but it isn't actually that hard. Now this is our first overlay, so the number is 1. I do want to create a picture-in-picture because we are working with the title. The effect is fade and the effect duration is fade as well, and I will just leave those as is, although you can change that, but I would like my title to fade in and fade out. Now the effect duration is just for the fade, and this is a duration in total. And 4000 milliseconds means 4 seconds. Then we have the stinger input, and again, that is a bit of a difficult topic that I won't explain in this video because I want to show you what you can change in the picture-in-picture location, and this is very important. And one thing I would like to mention right from the get-go is you see that our title isn't full screen. So if you are working with a title, please be aware that this entire box is also this entire thing and not just the title in general. Which means that if I just put it right here, and I will put it here or here, that the title is a bit small because I've zoomed out of it because the title isn't full screen. But I'm going to reset all of that for now. And this works the same as the XY position with the camera as well. So we can zoom. I will just zoom out a little bit so you can see the blue background. And this is also very easy to see the position of your title eventually. You can pan it left to right. And of course you have the reset button, and up and down as well. And I will put it a little bit down to around here. I think this is pretty good. And then you can also add a border if you want to, but I don't really like it, so why should you? Why should you? For now, for the basic setup, we don't need to have a border around this overlay. You can add your own color, the thickness, which is like how large the border is, and the radius as well. But for now, I think this is great. Oh yeah, and of course, like with the camera image, you can also rotate Z, X, and Y, but we don't need to rotate the title. I think this looks pretty good, so for now, I will just press OK. Then I have my title set in the video, or sorry, I have my title set in the preview. And on the bottom of your input area on one of the inputs, if I press 1 right now, you'll see that there is my title and that it also fades away. And that is how you can work with overlays, but you can also add like multiple overlays because you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on your plan, it also means the amount of overlays. Right now we have 1 overlay for the title, and maybe you asked already, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the transitions is also the same as in your input area. And that is how you can work with titles, overlays, videos, and to add inputs in vMix. So right now it's time to create this beautiful webinar in WebinarGeek and send our composition created in vMix to WebinarGeek. vMix is now almost ready to start streaming to WebinarGeek, but we still need to fill in our RTMP codes. On the bottom of your input area, you will find a button to start and stop your stream. And next to that, once again, is a beautiful gear icon to configure your streaming settings. As a destination, select Custom RTMP Server. Then go to WebinarGeek, open up a dry run or open your live webinar. In this case, I will just open a dry run and just copy and paste all these codes into vMix. And then we need to fill in our hostname and password. And to do that, in your streaming settings, click on Advanced. Click on OK, and then click on Save and Close. Now you can press the button to start your stream. It's turned red, and right now, if we go to our webinar, the stream is up. And there you go. Right now you see my webinar or my output in WebinarGeek. And that's how you can configure WebinarGeek to vMix. The last thing I want to mention is that you don't have to use RTMP to work with vMix. Although I think if you want to start working with vMix, you do have a more professional studio with high-tech equipment and all that. So in that case, I do recommend that you start working with RTMP. But for those of you who don't, vMix has its own, in OBS it's called a virtual cam option. And here in vMix it's called external. So if I press on external, the video or my camera image will be transmitted to WebinarGeek. If you are in your WebRTC webinar and you need to select a camera, just select a vMix video, I believe it's called, and then you will see your output. To stop your external stream or your RTMP stream, just click on the button and then select yes. And finally, what I also would like to show you, just like in OBS, you can also record your webinar or your output. Press record and then it starts recording. Sometimes it does ask you from, hey, are these settings correctly? But in my case, I know they are correct, but I will show you. Stop recording, yes. And click on the gear icon and here you'll find the settings like the size, your file name, and also where it's stored. So click on OK, and there you have it. So now you know how you can set up an RTMP webinar, a WebRTC webinar, and even record your vMix. You have learned how you can create titles, overlays, add a microphone, add a camera, and change a lot of options. Back to the studio. So now you have a basic understanding of the vMix software. And I say basic because there is a lot, and I mean a lot more to discover in vMix. I've been working with vMix for a little while, and my opinion is that vMix is a more difficult program to work with than OBS. But that's because the program is very inviting to work in a more professional way. In OBS, for example, a lot of these settings are not there at all, or they're a bit more hidden so you don't get confused if you just wanted to add a microphone and a camera. So as always, it depends on what kind of webinars you give and if you need or want a more professional way of working. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about webinars, on how to host them, what gear to use and what it is like to work at a tech startup, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click like on this video and hit that notification bell. And let me know, are you going to start using vMix for your webinars? Thank you so much for watching and see you on the next one. Bye!